Homosexuals of Reddit, what is something about being gay that a straight person would never guess is a thing you have to deal with on a regular basis? The mini internal debate you have every time you tell a story about your do I say friend or girlfriend? Have I come out to this person yet? Is there someone in the vicinity who I don't want knowing I'm gay? If I do say GF, will the person think I'm getting political oversharing even though they wouldn't think that if I said boyfriend instead of girlfriend? Coming out is not a one and done deal. You have to make that snap judgment 1,000 times and every time it's scary. Edit. Whoa. Thanks for the awards. This is the first time I've gotten any. The first thing that comes to mind is a few years back I was talking to my dad. And he mentioned when he met my mother. She was having serious family issues with her own father. They didn't get along. At all. And my dad helped solve the issue because the way he was raised. Family was the most important thing. And he couldn't date a woman who didn't get along with her family. Double quote. I had to tell him if that's an expectation he has for my future spouse, he better get over it before I meet her. Cause when you're gay, there's a very real chance your will not have a family to bring you into. It hadn't occurred to him before then that my future wife might not get along with her family. And that our family will have to become hers instead. It's something I accepted a long time ago. But my dad really struggled with the idea for a long time. My parents are both unpleasant people in general and I converse with them as little as possible. In the past I've been criticized heavily for this by partners who were blessed with a kinder, warmer upbringing. Now this has made me realize that I can simply explain how my parents rejected me when I came out. Not true. But a heck of a lot easier than describing the effects of emotional abuse and toxic narcissism to someone who has never experienced either. Thank you for this information. I just wanted to thank everyone who commented on here. My son is gay and I appreciate knowing more about what he might face in life, beyond the obvious stuff. Very wholesome. I'm not gay. But I have many friends who are. And their parents couldn't wrap their heads around it for years. It sucks seeing someone you love not be able to be accepted by the people who are supposed to love them the most. Bless you. People asking how you have sex. I've had neighbors, a former boss, and family members ask me immediately after I told them I have a serious girlfriend. It's like, you wouldn't ask a straight person that. Like, hey, so, I'm gay. I've been dating my GF for 4 years. Sorry I've been telling you otherwise. Double quote. Them. So like, lol. How do you have sex? Who gives and who receives? Do you use toys? Lol, I heard lesbians use a lot of toys. Cause you don't have anything down there. You know? Do you just lay next to each other? How does it happen? Lol. Double quote. And I'm like, oh, as if it weren't awkward enough to tell your ass I'm gay already. Okay. So I would never ask an individual this question. But as a gay person, 23F, who's never dated, I genuinely don't know how a sex works between two women. Can anyone give me a general idea? Like, I don't expect anyone to tell me how they specifically do it. But if someone could point me to any helpful resources, I would really appreciate it. I graduated high school only a few years ago. And even that recently nothing was taught about homosexuality. Maybe I'm just slow to pick things up. But I genuinely didn't know what being gay meant, other than an insult the boys called literally everyone, until I was 18. We learnt a lot about heterosexual sex and safe sex between a man and a woman. But never even touched on gay sex. Sorry for the long post. And I don't really know if this question belongs here. But I can't be the only one who would benefit from a genuine answer. Once you come out you never truly stop coming out. Every time you fly, cross a border, get stopped by a cop, etc. Same question, and how do the two of you know each other? I am always tempted to say we have been effing each other for 35 years. But I never will. People just don't understand what it's like. And there's no ill intentions in many cases. I live in a very liberal, gay-friendly area. I recently had to get tested for an uncommon urinary bacterial infection, which ultimately just turned out to just be problems induced from sitting more due to COVID WFH. The doctor saw my ring and started to go on about if it came back positive my wife would need to be tested as well. Risks to women, etc. It was strange. I actually felt bad for how she was going to feel when I had to politely interrupt her and say I was married to a man. She was absolutely mortified by her assumption and kept apologizing. No harm. No negativity intended. But it was a reminder that in all aspects of social interaction it's just one more hurdle I need to overcome. So, who's the guy and who's the girl? Yeah, really hate that one. I saw an old episode of 2.5 Men the other day and Alan and Charlie go to a gay party pretending to be a couple. As soon as the host opens the door and greets them, Alan says, "I'm the husband," and I was just thinking that no way in hell the host wouldn't immediately know they were faking it. Before y'all knew I was gay, you talked a lot of smack about the gays. You don't remember because it was just another ramble. Like what you had for dinner. But I remember. I will always remember. I will forgive you. But I will always remember how you talked about me. This. Plus having these people all of a sudden being all gay pride and over the top. I have a gay friend when their words used to hurt you so much. And they've never actually acknowledged that they weren't always so gay pride. Shamefully, gay was a fairly common synonym for lame or stupid when I was a teenager. When one of our friends came out, it was probably the first time we realized we had to think about the words we used. Even today though, decades later, I still struggle to say the right things. I'm trying. But some things don't even cross my straight white male mind, and some words actions are unrealized habit. Like when I asked the new guy at work if he had a wife girlfriend. Not even thinking there's other options, and basically put him on the spot to come out to me. A stranger. On behalf of foot and mouth morons the world over. I'm sorry if my words don't always match the spirit behind them. And I'm sorry my stupidity makes it harder for you. While I sometimes say the wrong thing, I 100% support your right to love whoever you want. Everyone deserves to be happy. Knowing that there are some people who really hate gays even though everyone today pretends they are totally cool with them. And there's always a chance decisions will be made at work that result in you not getting the promotion or straight up getting fired. I have had people straight up walk up to me at work functions and tell me that they don't think queer people need to be accepted and that they think me having a boyfriend is degenerate. But they hope we can be respectful of our different opinions. Without fail. They act like I kick them in the nuts when I say I don't accept that and think they're a bad person. This has happened multiple times. Each time it has occurred in front of co-workers. And none of them have ever said anything in my defense. People being overly loving of my sexuality. Sometimes it feels really forced. I appreciate the support. But I feel like it's trendy to support gay people. It's something to be celebrated. But for example, it's like acting like someone's 28th birthday is just as meaningful and a milestone as age 30. I grew up Catholic. And my parents and friends were super against gay people. Now that it's trendy, I feel like it's easier to support. People wondering why I don't act gay. Straight people are usually confused because they have this idea of homosexuality that's very open, flamboyant, and in your face. It's even worse from other gay people. Because they assume you're straight acting. They assume you're trying to hide your sexuality because you're ashamed. Because you don't love yourself. Because you're oppressed. Etc. The worst reactions I get are from the LGBT community. I have no idea why. You'd be surprised how little sexuality really comes up in day-to-day life. 90% of the people in my life have no idea I'm gay. Not because I try to hide it. Or because I'm in the closet. It just does not come up in normal conversation. It's not a part of my personality. I'm a dude who likes drawing. Goes to college. Playing Dota. Editing video and audio. And who wrote for an online publication once. I'll talk you to death about all those things before my love for man meat enters the equation. One of my wife's friends describes himself as homosexual but not gay. He likes men but he can't stand the expectation from some people of the flamboyance that comes with it. He doesn't like pride not because he disagrees with the message but because he doesn't see the point in waving his sexuality in people's faces. Planning my wedding was a pain. Are you going to wear a dress? Are you going to have bridesmaids or groomsmen? Where do we sit? Are you allowed to do it in a church? Yes. Our wedding party consisted of myself, my husband, the minister, and my baby still as the flower girl. My husband and I walked each other down the aisle. The minister read a Walt Whitman poem. We exchanged rings and vows and had a nice buffet set out for us. No dancing. No silly games. Just marriage and fake Italian food. It was great. When people in my family say things like "we always knew" or something else to that effect, it breaks my heart every time. And I want to go f***ing postal just thinking about all the terrible, awful, and downright shameful shit they said about gay people when I was such a young, innocent child on a journey to find myself just like anybody else. I did so much shit I absolutely hated just to appease everyone else when I could have been pursuing my own unique interests. Feels like I lost my right to a fair childhood. Forgiveness is hard, but I do it to not cause any more controversy than I need to. You never know who is secretly homophobic whether at work or in public, so I'm always having to act straight in a lot of situations until you trust the person, which can wear you down mentally. Also can really get depressing when every song, movie and TV show is centered around a man and a woman or heterosexual dating shows. You get sick of never being represented, but straight PPL don't really get it. Also, straight people definitely take for granted the fact it's acceptable to show PDA, but gay people get told to put that shit away. I'm sure other people will bring up the serious stuff, so let me instead take this opportunity to represent the gay slovenly basement dwellers of the world and air my grievances. I don't think there's enough gay porn. Oh sure, there's still more of it than any human being could watch in a lifetime. But I feel like my straight male peers are spoiled for choice in a way that I'll never know. Maybe they are just exaggerating, but it sounds like you can literally just think of any premise on the spot and lo and behold there's already porn of it. Not so for the gays, and frankly it's oppressive to always feel like I'm settling. Like, sure, maybe I can find a video of a naked guy jumping up and down on a pogo stick if the mood strikes. But is there going to be enough of a selection for me to find the body type I like? Most likely no. I just hope that future generations won't know this suffering. People legitimately question the validity of your relationship, and whether it's just a phase, especially if you're bisexual and have a history of being in a relationship with someone of the opposite gender. This questioning can come from both ends of the spectrum though, which is ironic. And there's a weird pattern to it. If you're a B girl, you're obviously just a straight girl doing it for attention and will eventually leave your girlfriend for a man. Whereas if you're a B boy, you're obviously just a gay boy in denial and will eventually leave your girlfriend for a man. Everything is just so, well, straight. A silly example. Look at the greeting cards section next time you're at CVS or Target, Walmart, and look for the man-to-man cards. There's like one. If I'm lucky, it's like this for anything. And everyone had an opinion about my mere existence. It's like bigots who want you dead, or it's overly excited well-meaning liberals that want you to know how totally down they are with your gayness. I just wanna vibe, man. Not gay, but I count as a couple other letters of the rainbow. A big one is what's sometimes called queer time. A whole lot of life events straight people take for granted as happening at a particular time in a particular order in a person's life are either inapplicable, different, or completely out of order for queer people. So a lot of us have an odd mixture of maturity and immaturity by straight standards and sometimes struggle with figuring out where we're up to. Like, being queer sometimes feels like being a 30-something-year-old teenager in a community full of 30-something teenagers and weirdly grown-up kids who've been living on their own since being kicked out by their bigoted parents at 16. All the reference points you're taught to expect growing up in a straight family watching straight media are thrown off. For some reason, When people find out I'm a lesbian, they feel the need to say, but you don't look gay, as though my appearance has any impact on my sexual orientation. It's a small thing to some, but to me it makes me feel invalidated just because I don't fit a stupid stereotype. It's even worse when other gay people say it to me. I don't look gay? Well, you don't look ignorant, but I guess we're both wrong, lol. That being gay inherently means being accepted by other gays. Between the body shaming and the alcoholism and the drug use, I just as happily avoid most other gays. I'm not all that attractive, and I have social anxiety, so whenever I actually work up the courage to try to flirt or ask someone out, I get a response of "you." No. I've only ever gone to Pride once or twice and got stressed out and left after an hour or two. Same with gay bars. I've just never really felt welcomed or accepted. And it's hard for me to make friends who are gay for a lot of the same reasons. I'd rather just avoid it all and stay home. We have to constantly police our language. A common homophobic thing I hear is, why do you all flaunt your sexuality? But I think a lot of straight people don't realize how frequently they tell me they're straight without realizing it. Whether it's my husband, wife, or "oh, that person is hot." Double quote. Meanwhile, I have to constantly wonder, how will this person react if they know I'm not straight? Double quote. Getting polite service is difficult. I make an effort not to look gay, but I naturally look pretty gay. Gas station attendants and front desk office workers are usually the worst offenders. Office workers will sometimes purposely send you on goose chases because they don't want to serve you. It usually helps if I'm accompanied by another person of the opposite gender, so that it looks like I'm in a heterosexual relationship. Sometimes you get glared at in public and you're like, whoa, what's with these people? I smiled at like 3 people and they all glared at me. And then you remember homophobia exists and you're like, oh right. A few from my experience. So this might just be relative to where I live, but the dating pool is pretty small. It's not uncommon that to have dated the same people as your partner here. I still question my sexuality and how I define myself within the LGBT+ community. I've been thinking about 10+ years and still am unsure something. I think and discuss it with my friends who are also LGBT+ a lot. Some of them feel similar. Some of them don't. Straight people always want to know what your type is. It always feels like a test to see if you find them attractive. Is she flirting with me, or is she straight and just friendly? Am I flirting with her? If I am, does she know? Will she make the first move? If she expects me to make the first move, will I disappoint her if I don't? Or would making a move freak her out and she'd never talk to me again because she's actually straight? This is why I date boys despite being more into girls. I look like a butch dyke. And attractive fam girls seem to expect me to make the first move because of arcane and archaic mask fam gender roles. Meanwhile, they're the ones you can't tell are queer. I have realized 3, 5, or even 13 years later. Oh. FCK. She was totally into me. Double quote. I'm gay and out of the closet. I still remember this talk with a straight girl acquaintance of mine. We were talking about the future, family and stuff. I mentioned the problem of not being able to legally marry or adopt. Yes. Is terrible, you can't have a family. BTW, I get 2 guys getting a boy. But 2 guys getting a girl? Sounds fishy. I would worried for her well-being. Ladies and gentlemen, our ally. That being gay isn't a choice. That I didn't wake up choosing who I was attracted to, and how infuriating it is that that part of me is called a lifestyle or sexual preference. And let me let you in on a secret, I probably would not have chosen being gay if this was a choice. Not saying I'm not comfortable with who I am, but it can be challenging and painful. Who would choose family rejection? Being subjugated to bias and homophobia on a daily basis? Who? This strange phenomenon where because you are queer, strangers, mostly straights, feel entitled to every detail of your personal romantic life. AKA, how's the sex? Is it good? Who is on top bottom? How do y'all have sex anyway? Does it count as sex if there's no penetration, or is it always just foreplay? Is it hard to find someone to date when you're the way you are? Based off a true example, why'd you break up with them? You all were so cute together. You guys were the only gay couple I know. Etc. Never ending overly personal questions and comments. I'm not gay. I consider myself bisexual. One thing I learned from the gay men I dated is that being gay means that you are going to be really lonely a lot of the time. If you are straight, you can date almost half of the population of any area you live in. When you are gay, your dating pool is much smaller. If you live in a small town, you will likely know every single gay or bi man in that town and they are your only choice. People asking if I know X person because they are also gay. No. We don't all know each other. The annoying part is that since I live in town of 300k, sometimes I do know the person they're talking about, or I know someone with the same name. But as it turns out, there's more than one gay guy named Alex or whatever. As a trans person in a community a bit smaller than yours, and fairly conservative, I actually do know most of the trans folks around here. It's pretty embarrassing to say yes when they ask me. Haha. The shame internalized homophobia. I came out to my parents a few years ago and they aren't outright hostile, but they've sort of iced over. My mom, who I love dearly, barely even looks me in the eye anymore. It makes you feel like some weird creature that doesn't belong anywhere. Especially when you try to interact with other LGBT+ people. Because you feel this overwhelming, all-consuming sense of shame and hatred for yourself. Like there's something broken about you and you can't even help it. And sometimes that shame turns into resentment for other LGBT+ people, which is unhealthy but very difficult to overcome. IDK if that made sense, but yeah, the shame and guilt is just awful. Bringing intersectionality into the mix. As a black gay male who lived in low-income black neighborhoods, being gay was not an option. You were either straight, or you were bullied, beat up, or had to pave a path of self-acceptance where there was none. As I've grown up, I've found my people. But I am still to this day trying to control my code switching. It's something that straight folk don't have to go through. I don't think everyone relates to this, but constantly worrying about how gay I look. I don't mean gay as in bad, but sometimes I get self-conscious about if straight people can see right through me. There's definitely a lot of stereotypes about homosexuals, but a lot of straight people use them in a negative or harmful way. At the same time, I don't want to look straight, if that makes sense. Obviously there is no gay or straight look because everyone is their own person. But it gets to my head a lot. Even at home when I don't do anything in particular to change my appearance. Honestly, even something as simple as whether I feel like presenting more masc or fam in the morning. And how that will in turn affect my day because of how people around will treat me. Any expression of my sexuality is being in your face about it, and it shouldn't be your whole personality. Being gay isn't my entire personality, but it has a major influence on my romantic interests, my life goals pre-marriage equality, and even now. My career, job in Singapore? Not an option. For example, how other people view me. How society views me, my relationship with my immediate and extended family, and my personal identity. And it has since I was about 11. Which, shockingly, may have influenced my personality and interests. Somehow. You don't come out just the one time. You're always coming out almost every day forever as you live your authentic life. Especially when you meet new people who ask about you and you're so not homosexual but bisexual. The internal debate I have in telling a woman I am interested in that I'm bi. I never know how she'll react. Whether that be acceptance or something along the lines of my sexuality being a deal breaker for her.